If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. My bad, my bad. Is everybody good now? Everybody good? I apologize. Man, that's a rough one. But you should be able to hear me now. I appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up, Edward. Thank you. Thank you. Basically was just saying, the normal opening spiel. You know what time it is. Just excited to bring the show to you tonight, have some good content, some good topics. I was also saying that for those of you who haven't already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe on YouTube. And also, if it's something you feel like doing, join the channel. Got some good, a couple of good members only episodes I've produced already, and working on something else special coming out. So can't wait to deliver that to you guys. Very excited about it. So yeah, we'll go from there. But you know what? Let's go ahead. We're already about 5 minutes in. Let's go ahead and get it started. Let's get to the first topic, y'all. Is it over for Aaron Rodgers? Wow. That's the question. That is the question. So this is very interesting. Aaron Rodgers, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Most people see him that way. He has been for his entire career just a phenomenal player, a guy who can make every throw. Well, in his prime, could make every throw. He had the arm talent, he had the mobility, he had the intelligence. I mean, he could just do it all. He was special. But I think a lot of people look at it, and we did a segment a couple weeks ago saying, was Aaron Rodgers' career a disappointment? Because for all the talent that he had, 4-time league MVP, I believe he's top 10 in touchdown passes, top 10 in passing yards, etc. Now, we also, if I do it for the NBA, I have to do it for the NFL. We also have to take into account the rules changes, right? The rules changes make it a lot easier for quarterbacks and receivers to put up these absurd numbers nowadays, as well as pass rushers and defensive backs, right? Because it's simply just a much higher volume of passes being thrown, right? Because it's a very pass-happy league. Although we just saw the team that won the championship on Sunday. How did they do it? They did it with defense, and they did it with running the football. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. The point I'm trying to make is, let's see. Edward, rumor has it he's trying to come to Pittsburgh. My opinion in Rob Parker voice. No way, no how. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Rob Parker's one of my favorites. I don't always agree with him, but he's one of my favorites. Anyway, back to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he's a guy who could just do it all, right? Again, he had the mobility, he had the legs, he had the arm talent, he had the intelligence, and he did a lot, right? He's a 4-time MVP, he's a Super Bowl champion, but people look at it and say that, for all those years that he was in Green Bay putting up amazing numbers and all that, he didn't even just only win one Super Bowl. He only made it to one Super Bowl. Now, the Packer defenders, like my guy Transformer, they will complain about the defense, etc. But if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're that great, I really feel like, and it's my opinion, that you probably should have been able to do more to get your team over the hump, even if it was getting them to one more Super Bowl, right? And so I feel like there was more meat on that bone in terms of his career. Now, can we say his career was a disappointment? Maybe, just in terms of his talent and his level of excellence. He probably should have achieved more. Like, I don't think anyone's going to tell you Ben Roethlisberger was better than Aaron Rodgers, but Ben Roethlisberger has 2 championships, and I think he went to 3 Super Bowls. Now, the other argument is going to be, well, oh, he had the Steelers defense. He had much better defenses. We can argue that, but he wasn't as good as Aaron Rodgers, and he he didn't have the level of weapons on the outside Aaron Rodgers did. So I don't know. Take that how you want to take it. Anyway, so Aaron Rodgers, after, I want to say, 16, 15 years in Green Bay, he decided to move on, and he ended up in New York with the Jets. Coincidentally, that's kind of exactly how it went for his predecessor in Green Bay, Brett Favre, who played a number of years as a cheesehead and then went on to the New York Jets. I think he only spent 1 year with the Jets, though, before he went on to Minnesota and had a kind of late career resurgence. So I guess the question is, can Aaron Rodgers have that? The reason I asked that, Aaron Rodgers came to a New York Jets team that a lot of people thought was in position to have some success because they had a very outstanding defense. This is 2 years ago under then coach Robert Saleh. They had an outstanding defense, and they felt like quarterback was just the key that they needed, right, to be able to make the plays. And while the defense kept them in good position to stay close in games, if you had a quarterback that could make the plays and get them over the top, they could win a lot more games and be very dangerous. And I kind of get that mentality, right? So that's the position they were in. Then, not this past season, but last season, well, I guess this past season is over. So 2 seasons ago, on opening night, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles tendon, and there we go. So he tears his Achilles, but at this age, we already know how difficult it is to come back from an Achilles tear. But at the age he was, I think he was 38 or 39 at the time, to do the rehab, to get all the way back. He did get back, but he simply wasn't the same player. You could tell he didn't have the mobility. You could tell he didn't necessarily trust the Achilles in terms of trying to do the amazing things that Aaron Rodgers has done throughout the years. You could see that he didn't necessarily trust it in terms of really stepping into throws or, all of those things, right? It clearly wasn't there for him. So he never reached, I would say, anywhere near the levels that he reached in Green Bay, and it didn't work out. Then on top of that, you have the other part of it. You have the drama that comes with him, right? Aaron Rodgers, he wanted certain guys to come with him, and the Jets kind of obliged him. I think they got his guy Lazard from Green Bay and a couple other guys I can't remember off the top of my head. But then Devontae Adams forced to trade from Las Vegas Raiders to come out there and play with him. But it didn't end up working, right? And so now you have a situation where the Jets have a brand new head coach, and that's Aaron Glenn. And basically, the Jets reportedly on Tuesday told Aaron Rodgers that they will be moving on from him. Now, I don't have all the details on that meeting, but part of that is that I guess they told him that if he's going to stay, he can no longer do the Pat McAfee show, that he's got to be at all the basically don't be a distraction, right? Go to all the off-season team activities, etc., and just, don't cause problems, right? Because we know last year, I think he missed some of the training session and all that. What's good, Laker Nation? What's going on, man? What invite? What are we talking about? But yeah, so he missed stuff in the preseason last year, and Aaron Glenn is like, nah, we're not doing that. If you're going to be here, then you need to be here. If you're going to be here, we're not playing no games. If you're going to be here, no more Pat McAfees. We need you focused and locked in on being the best quarterback you can be for the New York Jets, right? And I don't know if that's something that Aaron Rodgers didn't like or what have you, but it's been reported that it appears that his time with the Jets is over, right? So the 41-year-old has reportedly been told by Jets management that the team intends to move on to new pastures during the offseason, signaling a turning of the page for the franchise. Fox's Jay Glazer reported the news, while NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport also reported the Jets' decision. CNN has contacted the Jets for comment. So Now this is tough for the Jets because also now remember they gave up capital to try and get what's this Devontae Adams, not trying but to bring Devontae Adams out from Las Vegas, and he's there, and now he may want to walk, right, because Aaron Rodgers is not there, and that's the guy he came to play with, his buddy from all those years in Green Bay, and that, you know, that didn't work out if Aaron Rodgers is gone. So now you say, okay, what's going to happen with Devontae Adams? What's going to happen with the Jets? What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? So now I guess the question is it over for Rodgers, right? Is it over for Aaron Rodgers? And now the question is, what's he going to do? Is this going to be a situation where he sits down, mulls it over, thinks about it, and then decides to retire? Or is his great athlete ego going to kick in and he's going to say, you know what? I'll take it one more stop and I'll show them I still got it. And that's the question, right? Maybe the aforementioned Raiders, right? They don't have a quarterback. Last year, they went through the entire season with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Not a good quarterback room. So he could end up there, right? I'm sure there's a couple of spots. Maybe he ends up in Tennessee and then they draft his understudy. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure there's a couple of spots that could use a veteran on the way to the Hall of Fame signal caller. But again, this is a situation of how much of Aaron Rodgers are you actually going to get? The Aaron Rodgers that was multiple-time MVP. What percentage of that is still around? What percentage of that is still playing? How much of that can you get? And are you going to get a guy who's locked in, focused, and not distracted? That's another thing, right? Now, here's another thought that I thought would be interesting. It just occurred to me, right? So we know that Sam Darnold was the big name throughout most of the year last year until, of course, he turned back into Sam Darnold. And during his final 2 games of the season, he played his worst 2 games of the season, right? Cost himself a lot of money. So here's the question. If you could have Sam Darnold, or if you're Minnesota, you're not quite sure if J.J. McCarthy is ready to take over the reins yet after coming back from his knee surgery and then still, basically being a redshirt rookie this year. If that's what you got, would you think about bringing in an Aaron Rodgers with those weapons you have there, right? What's my guy's name? Oh my gosh, I forgot. Justin Jefferson and I forgot the other receiver. Came out of USC. But the point is, you have two elite weapons in terms of the wide receiving core, and you have an opportunity. If you're Minnesota, are you possibly looking at Aaron Rodgers? Are you wondering, okay, is this a guy that we can trust to come in here and be the guy, be professional, set that example for J.J. McCarthy, give us one more year before we have to find out what he's about, and possibly a guy that can get us over the hump, who we know is better than Sam Darnold? I don't know. I mean, that's a thought, right? Maybe if you're the Rams, you trade Matt Stafford and you bring in Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, right? At any rate, I think wherever Aaron Rodgers go, that team is going to get a guy who is, if he continues to play, a guy who probably has a chip on his shoulder, wants to show he still got it, and he's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, but you don't have to pay him that much. That's a rarity. So I think that's an interesting thought. I'm quickly trying to run through in my head, like, what are some spots that could be landing spots for Aaron Rodgers? I saw my man Edward in the chat said possibly Pittsburgh. I don't know if Mike Tomlin wants to deal with that. That's a headache, right? He already dealt with a headache in Big Ben. I don't know if he wants to deal with another all-time headache in Aaron Rodgers. Cleveland, they need a quarterback, right? Maybe they looking at Aaron Rodgers. Let's see. We talked about Tennessee, which is everybody in the NFC South has got their quarterback. Well, no, maybe the Saints, right? Maybe the Saints need a quarterback. So there's some spots where he could land and possibly be dangerous. I don't know. But the question is, first, does he want to continue to play, right? And if he wants to continue to play, is he going to do everything it takes not to be a distraction and play at the maximum level that his body will allow him to play at this point in his career after everything he's been through? Now, here's the thing, right? He's 40 or 41, but they always say that not the year immediately following an Achilles or a knee is the year that you're back to normal. It's that following year. Steve, what's good, my man? Good to see you. It's that following season that you're kind of back to being, who you thought you were or who you once were, if you can get back to that. So this would be that year to kind of get back to it. So I don't know, man. We will see what Aaron Rodgers can do, what he's still capable of doing if he decides to come back. And something tells me a player of that caliber who's done everything he's done in his career, he's not going to want to go out basically having been dismissed by the Jets and having basically leaving a bad taste in people's mouth by not being the guy that everyone saw him be for so many years in Green Bay. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if it's over for him. I guess the question remains, and it's going to be up to him. Realistically, it's up to him. Is he going to want to come back? Is he going to want to put in the work? Does he still have the fire in his gut and the chip on his shoulder to show that he is the type of guy that we once saw? I guess that's the question. And the answer to that is, I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, that was the first topic, and let's go ahead, and this is what I'll do. I'll open up the phone lines here, and I will take a couple calls if anybody's interested in calling in and discussing whether or not they think it's over for Aaron Rodgers, because I'm definitely curious about that. I'm curious to know if anyone thinks it's a wrap for him, or if he thinks he can get back, or if you think that he can get back to playing at a high level in the NFL. So yeah, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, or you can just leave it in the chat. Either way, but I'll definitely love to hear what anyone says about what anyone thinks about Aaron Rodgers and if they think his career is over. Because it's funny, people have always talked about this whole greatest thrower of the football in history, and I've never really bought into that. I've talked about it a few times on the show. Is he incredible? Yes. Greatest thrower of the football ever? I don't know if I believe that. I mean, there's a guy named Dan Marino who might disagree, right? There's a guy named John Elway who might disagree. There's a guy named Steve Young who might disagree. There's a guy named Lamar Jackson who might disagree, right? There's a guy named Joe Burrow who might disagree. There's some serious cats out here who might disagree with that whole greatest thrower of the football we've ever seen. And I'm like, but first of all, when people say that, I would also like to know, like, what's the criteria for that? What makes you the greatest thrower of the football that we've ever seen? I mean, is it being able to throw on the move? Is it arm strength? Is it touch? Is it delivery? Is it arm angles? Like, what is the criteria that makes you the greatest thrower of the football we've ever seen? Is it all of those things together? I'm not really sure. But see, this is the problem. We have all these titles, right? Most valuable player, GOAT, this, that, and the third, right? Most outstanding player, blah, blah, blah. But nobody ever wants to sit down, put pen to paper, and put out criteria on what makes you all of these things, right? What can earn you all of these titles? Why? Because they want people like me and Transformer and whoever else to sit down here and debate it. And they want people like you and the people in the barbershop to sit there and argue it and debate it and make it a topic. And they want all the sports media shows, the faculty or First Take or, Get Up or whatever other show it is that you might be watching, Gil's Arena, whatever. They want you to listen to those shows. They want the people on those shows to sit there and argue and debate it, right? Because basically it brings attention to the league. It brings attention to those players, brings attention to that game, whatever it is. And I respect that. Yes, Steve Splenda is the greatest thrower of all time. Yes, he might be. But no, I just find it so interesting that so many of these things just absolutely refuse to set down any criteria. Because for me, I'm very much I'm not going to say a black and white guy, because I do believe in context, but having criteria for things makes it so much easier. At the very least, you should have criteria just for being mentioned in the discussion, right? So if you're going to be the greatest thrower of the football of all time, I want criteria. What puts you in that discussion? All right, let's go ahead and take this call. Bruce, what's good, my man? How you doing?
How you feeling tonight?
Maintaining, man.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers still got him. He still got something in him. I'm not gonna give him grace this year. He was coming up. He was a little antsy because of his foot.
I agree.
He still put up above average numbers this year. Truthfully, I think the Jets had way more problems than him. It wasn't him. They always complaining about Aaron Rodgers' attitude and his nonchalant. hey, everybody's different, man. Understand what I'm saying? Everybody's different. You accept somebody. I always say, you accept somebody for who he is and not for who you want him to be.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Aaron Rodgers still has a lot left.
Mm-hmm.
He got to go to a team that got a lot. He's not as agile as he once was.
Correct.
Now, to a team that have a great pass protection, man, they'll be scary. Whoever it may be. Pittsburgh? Is it Pittsburgh? You talking about Pittsburgh? Nah, I don't see him in Pittsburgh. Hey, Cleveland. Shit.
I mentioned that. That could be, yeah.
That's if they don't get Cam Ward or Shador.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think Shador's going to go there. I don't think Coach Prime is going to allow that. But go
on. Shit, Cleveland. Shit, man. Let me say this right now. Pin this up.
Mm-hmm.
I had Rodgers comeback player of the year. If he goes, if he goes to a team that got a good pass protection, that arm still there.
Okay, all right.
And Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thrower of the football ever. Aaron Rodgers made the greatest throw ever in that divisional championship against the Cowboys.
I knew you were going to bring that up, but I don't know if he's the great. Listen, I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying there's a lot of dudes that have an argument. I don't know if you heard when I was saying it. Lamar's got an argument. He got something to say about that because
you say Lamar.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have watched what Lamar can slice and dice you from the pocket. Lamar is arguably the best passer ever on the move, right? Arguably, I think we can make that argument. Maybe not definitively, but we can make that argument. John Elway, Steve Young, Warren Moon, like there's some dudes that have a legitimate argument to that greatest thrower of the foot. Dan Marino, yes.
It's not just no one guy. This is do a top 5 or Mount Rushmore. It can't be just one. But he most definitely in the conversation. Aaron Rodgers.
That I can go with. But like you hear guys definitively saying it, like Shannon Sharp says it, and he says it definitively. I don't know if he was just saying that to push Skip's buttons, but I'm like, I don't know how a guy that played with John Elway for like 14 years or however long it was can say that Aaron Rodgers definitively the best thrower of football ever. Like that's kind of, I'm like, really? Like I wonder what John says about that.
But Aaron Rodgers also won 4 MVP.
Yeah, no doubt.
He was worthy of all 4 of those. Now his touchdown to interception ratio
crazy, brother.
The kid, listen, prior injury, young like mid prime AR talking about throwing on the run. Bro, him on the run, shit, man. That throw he made against the Cowboys, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But let me ask you this: you don't think Steve Young was just as good throwing on the move as Aaron Rodgers? I do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the throw everybody bring up as the greatest throw of all time. One of the greatest throws. The placement, the everything, the right. He that's what the distance where he threw it from. He had to scramble to make the throw. His feet, I don't even think his feet was all the way. I think he threw it off balance. It was a little bit off throw. Right. And the place it right there for only his guy can get it, and where though you have enough room to get that motherfucker. Excuse my language. Yes. But far as like him coming back, oh yes, well he got him on the tank. His arm not dead. He's not as agile as he once was. Right. Hey, who said the statue quarterback was dead? That's not true. We'll prove that. Right. Last year, it was proved. Small proved that the statue. Somebody don't move much for putting up good numbers. Jared Goff. Yep. So the traditional quarterback is not dead as people, the media trying to. I heard a couple pundits talk about it's all about the dual threat quarterback now. Yes, it's true. They talk about you gotta have mobility.
I don't think you gotta have it. I think it helps. I don't think you gotta have it. And it also, to your point, it depends on your protection up front and your scheme.
Yes. Look, I like a Matthew Stafford, let that thing fly with the best of them.
Yep. That's a fact.
The stationary quarterback is not dead. So I hope people will just kill that. The Jared Goff proved that's a lie.
But I'll say this to your point though. I don't know if you heard me say it, that a lot of times when you have a knee or an Achilles, it's not the immediate season back. It's the following season that you see, Okay, so now this is that year. So it's very good that you brought up that he could be comeback player of the year this year. That's very possible because this is that season. So if he decides that he wants to come back and play and he's serious and he has, he's got that chip on his shoulder, he could be dangerous. Easy goer.
Mhm.
Easy goer says nobody cares what arm angle you throw. The ball still needs to go to the same place. Arm angles so overrated. Arm angles are not overrated, especially not with when you're talking about the pockets collapsing and you're talking about the size of these defensive linemen and you're talking about linebackers and stuff running at you and pressures coming from all these different places. You need to be able to release the ball from different arm angles, as we said, in order sometimes to get the ball to that same place that you're talking about. So arm angles is not overrated. You're not always going to be able to step into the perfect throw. So
Absolutely.
Arm angle's not overrated. Like we watch Lamar. A lot of times I wonder, why does he throw sidearms so much? But Lamar has an ability to get the ball where it needs to be, no matter the situation. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yes. Shout out to Bernie Kosar.
Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
When you said something about usually the year after next was when somebody blow their knee out, the tip tear their Achilles, that they better. Tell Adrian Peterson.
Well,
came right back the next year spraying for 2,000. But that's a different animal.
Yeah, that's a different animal. You got that right. Adrian Peterson is a total freak.
bro, 2,100. But I think truthfully, the Jets organization head, the higher ups, the guys who run the team, the GM, the owner, the general manager, whatever, their organization some shit. They never get it together unless they get it together upstairs. I think that's where a great organization starts.
Agreed.
Yeah, upstairs. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it looks to me, I could be wrong, but it looks to me like they made a good move with Aaron Glenn, hiring him. I think that he's focused, he's driven. I think he is going to instill the right culture. He knows that organization. Obviously, they drafted him. He played there for years. He knows that media market. I think he's going to be okay. The key again is, can they get a quarterback? And if so, who's it going to be? That's going to be the key.
Truthfully, man, you got to do it. You got to give him another shot, yo. If I was running the team, I'll get AR another shot. And I'll build my line. I'll try to get the best line possible. That's why I will draft. Line is probably quarterback, future quarterback, second, third round. Try to find a gem. You never know. You always stumble upon gems. You still stumble up on a Brock Purdy. Shit, if you stumble up on a Tom Brady, you never know. But I give him a do-over because this. Come on, man. It just wasn't right.
It wasn't all him.
Bring his all his wide receivers. I bring Adams back. Come on, let's do it again. But I'm not the one who calling the shots. If I was like the new GM, I'll give him one more year. I give him another shot, yo, because last year he didn't have it all together, man. Because you could tell he was in his head a lot, and that's not a. But he did. He had above average season. If you go look at his numbers, you're like, okay, wasn't that bad as that people had made it out to be. The whole damn team shit show, all that talent that goes to prove that your front office is the key to great organizations and healthy organizations, healthy locker rooms. And that whoever his name is, whoever runs New York right now, is a damn shit show up there. And we all
it is, but I think the key is you're seeing some of these owners are trying to follow the Jerry Jones playbook, man. Step out of the way and let your football people run stuff. Hold on a second, Bruce. Easy Goer says, why do all these fans think that physical talent is everything at QB? QBing is a mental game. When did I say physical talent was everything at QB? I certainly don't believe that, but I think you have to have the amalgam. You need to have both. You need to have some physical tools as well as you need to have the mental portion, right? Both of them are extremely important. And when you are lucky enough to be able to combine them, for instance, a Lamar Jackson, when you can do that, you get something truly special and amazing. So, But go ahead, Bruce. I'm sorry.
Well, so yeah, most organizations that are like that, as the owner runs everything, are some shit. So,
agreed.
We need to talk about that one day, whenever in the future, about teams that's owned by owners who want all the control.
Yeah. That might be, that's a good. I like that. That's a good idea. We do need to do that.
It's a detriment to your team, and it hurts them. So, well, we can't say that Cowboys were 12-5 for 3 years straight. So something was working there, but
no. Like that's just a function of something was working because Mike McCarthy, that's a championship level coach, right? But think about this. You got Jerry Jones always playing around. Think about how much better that team could have been if he would have just done things in the right timeline instead of wanting to get attention from the media, so waiting and then having to pay a certain amount and messing up your cap, right? Think about how much better that team would be if he would hand over the reins and get a real GM, right? A real quality GM. Think about how much the team could have done something as simple as, obviously, I'm glad they didn't, but tell me, Derrick Henry wanted to play for the Cowboys. They wanted to play he wanted to play for the Cowboys. He lives in Texas when he's not playing. He got a crib out there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And you didn't even call him? You didn't call him? Think about this, right? Not Zeke. Dak Prescott is your guy. That's your quarterback you gave all this money to. Cool. Fine, whatever. I think he's overpaid, but whatever. Dak Prescott is your guy. You gave him all this money, but you haven't noticed that he's been at his absolute best when he's had an elite running back. So now you give him Derrick Henry. Maybe Derrick Henry doesn't get 1,900 yards, but he gets 1,500 yards, right? Think about how good Dak Prescott would be and how much that would have helped the Cowboys if they had Derrick Henry. But Jerry he's all about the headlines, not about the winning. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
It's a marketing juggernaut. I'll give him.
Yes, absolutely.
But Jesus, man, shit.
Yep. No question about it. He's an incredible businessman.
I think he was like, remember he got Dion? That's when he busted out the Nike check. The Nike, I think Jarvis was one of the first owners in cahoots with Nike in the NFL. I may be wrong.
Maybe so.
Well, hey, I'm ready to get off, but thank you, Jerry, for Derrick Henry. We really appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank you for not signing Derrick Henry. Absolutely, because I love the running game, and I'm so happy we got him. Absolutely, I'm with you.
I know you don't like Brown, but the way Derrick Henry take care of his health and his body, he got 2-3 above average years left, and when he got from how he played this year. Yeah. I don't want to get to the because how he played this, he got some more time left. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna get off the phone right here.
Agreed.
I'm gonna call the next topic. All right, brother.
All right, brother. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, man.
All right.
My main man, Bruce, always with the good calls. Bruce be dropping it, man. Bruce and I go at it all the time. But that's all right, though. I love the passion that he has for this sports talk, man. So, yeah, that's where we are with Aaron Rodgers. And who can know if it's over for him or not? I guess we'll have to find out.